Okay. That's not what I want. Let me see here. No, that's not what I want. Pardon me. I'm sorry about this. Alexander, can you hear me now? I changed the microphones. Hopefully someone will come in and then I will know if they hear me. I changed the settings, so hopefully that'll show up. Okay, so that's that. So where's the 8x8? That's right there. I got this thing so complicated, huh? Let's see here. Okay. All right. Okay. Peter. Hey, Peter. Peter, can you hear me?
Where is it?
Peter, can you hear me, Peter? Peter, 1, 2, 3. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, great. I wonder why the other microphone doesn't work. It's interesting. I did a monologue, and it's a shame no one heard it.
Oh, gee.
They just saw my lips moving.
Well, I had my speaker off for a moment, so that's why I didn't hear you, but I hear you fine.
Yeah, I don't know why the other mic is not working. Let me switch to the mic real quick and see if
Yeah, and then check your audio settings and see what's your what your
oh, okay, audio. Let's see here. Audio.
see which is your default device, your default microphone, and whether it's plugged in or is it on a camera, that sort of thing, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know how am I going to do this now.
Okay, I'm going to change microphones. I want to see if I can get this other one to work.
Yeah, if it's plugged into one of the jacks on the computer, then it should recognize that you plugged something in there. Really small.
All right, you hear me again?
Yep.
Okay, I guess I can't get the other microphone to work. All right, so anyways, what you been up to?
Oh, working, adding more detail to, doing more stuff for that cockpit detail right now. And before I turn around and switch gears and go back to finishing the wing on the Saginaw. And then, of course, it's, I got a lot of sanding to do on the Pathfinder LE. So right now I'm making another little bit of cockpit detail here.
Oh, that looks good.
It's good. It's basically what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be a radio or an amplifier for radio. It'll have a little antenna on it, and I've got different color wires that'll poke into there and
Very cool.
there, and so on. And I'll route them somewhere in there.
Very cool.
And what I did is on Stunt Hangar on the building techniques.
Yeah.
I put a post up there where you can get a lot of really tiny stuff. It's like if you see here, if you can see the this bracket that's supposed to hold the whole thing on there.
Right.
That actually came out. It was just a great place to find really really small hardware. Let me get some light on this if I can.
Make it bigger. Hang on, Peter.
There you go.
There you go. You're big again.
So when hardware like this, it's basically it's a very, very ultra thin. You can see how thin that is, stainless steel bracket,
Yeah.
and that came out of a computer hard drive. And what I found was, if you need really tiny stuff like really itty bitty screws and
Yeah.
little tiny high speed bearings, steel bearings and stuff, and like especially small magnets, and in small little brackets like that I have, using this. I mean, it's almost paper thin, but it's stainless steel, so it's stiff.
Right.
I just, in my case, I had a bunch of old hard drives that I've had collecting, laying dust around the house because they blew up or they were broken, or I just swapped them out for different stuff. But you can find that sort of stuff on eBay really cheap, and you'd be surprised at how much you take them apart and how much really interesting small little items that you never know what you can use them for. But in my case, my cockpit detail,
Right.
um, you can turn around and harvest all sorts of tiny stuff out of a computer hard drive.
You know what? I've done that. I've actually even harvested stuff out of laptop hard
Yep,
drives. Those are
exactly.
really teeny.
Yep. I've had old 8 mm camcorders that died over the years. I just ripped apart the transport mechanism. And even if you don't have any of that sort of stuff laying around, it's dirt cheap on a lot of that stuff is dirt cheap on eBay.
Yeah, especially
And
if you want a non-working hard drive, it'd be
no, exactly. You don't care if they're broken. I mean, ultimately, you probably pay $3 for the hard drive, maybe $5 in shipping, but the amount of stuff that you can harvest out of there is well worth the price.
right. So how you doing,
Especially
Brendan?
especially on the larger hard drives. I'll give you an example. One of these bigger, older ones,
Yeah.
the bearings in here. I've used those bearings as the pivot on belt cranks. Oh, they
Yeah.
work perfectly.
Wow. That's interesting. It's a good idea.
Yeah, there's sealed high-speed ball bearings, and they come with, like, a lot of them come with a flange. So the bearing is inside like a T-shaped flange that you can actually just makes it real easy to pop right into, open up the hole in a belt crank, pop it right in there. And they come with a little circ clip on the other side because they need to retain it inside the housing on the drive. So
Right.
you make the hole bigger in the center of the belt crank. You pop it in, and you know what I'm talking about, those T-flanges on belt cranks. Let's see if I've got one here. Well, this one doesn't have one. But it's got like a larger diameter on top, and it goes through, and it's the small diameter on the bottom
Yeah.
on
Right.
the belt crank mount. Well, a lot of the bearings in these hard drives have the exact same type mounting mechanism. So what you do is just make the hole bigger. You pop it in there, and on the other side of that machine piece is usually a circlip that you can turn around, and you just pop the circlip in, and you don't even have to worry about how you're going to retain it or anything.
Wow. Yes. Very. Yeah. I'm always trying to repurpose things all the time.
And I mean, just to get one bearing out of a hard drive is maybe a little bit overkill, but try to find a piece that's made that way. You can't. You just can't find one. It just happens. They just happen to work.
I use the platters for mirrors, for those
Yep.
small mirrors, and also the magnets are super
Oh
strong
yeah, the magnets. Oh yeah.
inside a hard drive.
On the bigger ones, you get larger magnets. On these, the magnets are fairly large, but you
Yeah.
get the 3.5-inch notebook hard drives. Oh,
Yeah.
those things are perfect for all sorts of uses.
Yeah. Yeah. Really good. So let me try talk to Brandon again. So how you doing, Brendan?
Hey, doing all right. Today was a little crazy. We're trying to figure out how to have some fun at home with all this pandemic garbage going on. So I found myself up 30 feet up in a tree today because we're looking to install a zip line in our yard for my kids.
Oh wow!
And we've got 5 acres, so we've got a lot of land we can cover. And I'm in the mountains of Pennsylvania, Appalachian Mountains. So
you have elevation.
yeah, we got some elevation, and I'm trying to become a zip line guru of calculating how to find, just the amount of sag and all that stuff in it. So I was up a tree about 30 feet today, and I've said it before, I'm a big guy. I'm 6'8", so trying to get around in a tree, climb up a tree, it just was not the easiest thing. But
No.
my kids are pretty excited at the idea of getting a big zip line in the yard. It's just a matter of doing some calculations and trying to figure out if we can use our trees or if I'm going to have to get some telephone poles put in or what.
Well, a good stout tree should work as long as it's stout at the point where you want to attach the zip line.
Yeah, I just don't have enough trees in the yard to. Most of my 5 acres is treeless, so I got some stout trees. It's just, are there other things in the way, or again with the mountains in the yard, some of that elevation is just too much. I mean, you'd have a one-time ride down the line, and then it'd be over for you.
Yeah,
Well, not if you can figure out some way to make a run out section towards the end where it kind of is steep and then it flattens when you get to the end, but you'll figure it out.
Yeah, my kids are excited. I know that.
Oh, I bet.
Oh, heck, I'd be excited.
I'm excited for you. I'm not even living there.
Yeah, we told the kids today. It was the first time we mentioned it, and you can imagine. I mean, they're 8 and 10, so it's probably going to still take a good month to get this whole thing done. But I can imagine every day it's going to be, "Hey, when's this coming? Hey, when's this happening?" So it's going to be a process, but it should be fun.
The wife and I, basically, wherever we used to travel, we always look to see who's got the best zip line going.
Very cool. So Gary, how you doing, Gary?
Pretty good.
Gary, I'm so sorry,
Yeah.
Gary. I have not got to the proofreading yet. I am so behind in a couple things, and that's one of them. And so I'm so sorry, but I've been thinking about it. I got to get that, and I will get to it. I'll try to get to it this weekend. Not try. I will do it this weekend. I don't like to use that word because try is an excuse, But if you say you're going to do something, I take pride in trying to do what I say I'm going to do.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I tell people all the time, trying is lying. And I often refer to, again, I work at a prison, and so I got a bunch of inmates that tell me, "Oh, I'm going to try to do something better. I'm going to try to do something better." And I'll come back to like LeBron James. I'm not a LeBron James fan, but I'll still tell them, I said, "Hey, when LeBron James is in the fourth quarter, does he say, 'Hey guys, let's go try to win this'?"
Right.
Yeah, we're going to win this thing. And either you do or you don't. But if you insert the word "try" in there, you've already kind of set it up. Oh, it's okay if we fail.
Right. Yeah.
I think what was it? Yoda had a good saying, something along those lines.
Do or do not.
Or do not. No try, or something along those lines.
Let me say hi to Howard. Hey, Howard, thanks for coming in. And hi, Jim. Thank you for coming in, Jim. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. We're glad to be here.
Hey, man. That's a pretty wing in the background. What is that, a tracer wing? That purple wing?
Yeah, that's the one that's about to get all tore up. So taking all the stuff out of it.
You gonna harvest some hardware out of it?
Yeah. It's a Millennium Wing, and so it's my top 20 plane actually from the Nat, and it used to be a different color, but I didn't get very good appearance points the last year I went, so oh, that's right. Hang on. So anyway, I thought I could get that going, but if you flip it upside down and stuff, it's a pretty old wing. I've had the plane a long time, and if you flip it up and down, you can shake it. I got most of them out now, but the Millennium Wing used to use these little vertical pieces in the back here,
right?
And they had a real bad tendency over time to pop off, and so I had a whole bunch of them in here, and so what I had to do is I had to put, let's see, where is that thing? I know it's on the bottom. I guess I covered it up. Oh no, there it is. Out at the tip, you can't really hardly see it, but right here, that's actually a piece of clear tape.
Oh, okay.
And what it does is it lets me get in there and take that piece out and shake all the stuff down.
Yes,
But
I know. I hate that. I have a plane. When I tilt, I hear all these pieces of wood go from one wingtip to the other.
Yeah.
I
well,
hate that stuff.
well, Tom came up with a lot better idea. Or one of them guys over there did. What they do now is they put a second spar in the whole length of the wing half,
Okay.
and it runs vertical, and it's at the back of the wing, like back in here.
Right.
And so it can't break. It's put in just like your main spar, only it's smaller. And so it can't break. So that's a lot better, but now I'm on to different kind of wings, so I don't know how many more Millennium wings I'll build. Maybe none. I like them. They're good, but there's other wings that are better. Bob Hunt's built me a couple of foam wings for my next tracer. And then I've got a foam wing, a special one he made me that is solid core, and I'll put the tips on it, and I'll mold. I'll have a molded wing as well. But I think the foam wing is really, I don't know. We'll see what it weighs, but compared to a molded wing, but I don't know. John, I see you're here.
Hey, John.
Hey guys.
Hi,
Hi,
Phil.
John.
Hey guys,
Hey.
how are you?
I've been saving this for you. I didn't get as far this week as I have been getting. But let's see. You can see now I have a bar that runs across the bell crank.
Right. I
Can
see
you
that.
see it all right?
Yeah. See. Perfect.
Yeah.
And then when you move the controls, the bell crank, you can see that little piece in the back
Right.
Yeah.
slide forwards and backwards. And this one's not quite as smooth as it could be because it's pretty, it's a pretty old airplane. And so this rod, it's just a steel rod. So they eventually want to rust up a little bit on you and get a little rough. But I put some super lube in there, and I also brought you. Got to get my transmitter out, my landing gears in the release position. The other thing that we were talking about was these cable nye rods.
Yeah.
And so this is a whole set of them right here. Okay. If I
Yeah.
can figure out how to get it.
You got
Okay. Now the problem is that I've always found is that when you start putting the bend on this thing, the cable gets a lot tighter. You can
Right.
feel it drag a little bit. It's
Teflon
not bad. Yeah. Well, no, it's actually just a brass cable.
No, put some Teflon, put some liquid Teflon on it. Go to a bicycle shop and get some liquid Teflon like they use on the brake lines and gear change lines on a bicycle, upper end bicycle, not the cheap stuff, but the upper end stuff.
Yeah, I got some of
it'll
the.
never bind.
I got some Boeing stuff I could try. That's a synthetic that you use on bicycles.
Yeah, the main reason I like the
It's
cable over the normal nye rod is I think the cable is stiffer, not stiffer, but stronger, and doesn't want to wobble around as much.
Yeah, it's a little tighter fit, and you can see it's pretty good size too. It's
Yeah.
bigger. It's bigger than what I have in the airplane right now.
Mhm.
So, but I will say that your plane is a little bigger than this Comet.
Yeah, it's about
And
40, 41, 42-inch wingspan.
so you would be able to use regular ball links. See, I have
Yeah.
to use all this mini stuff, and it doesn't work as good as the full size ball links. So you probably, if you follow Charles' advice and you get some of that liquid Teflon, because you still have some of this stuff running inside, just where you go through a couple spots and where
Mhm.
you exit. Um, in fact, I think I got a whole piece of it, but it's straight. It doesn't make any curves, so
Right.
it would be smooth as silk. Doing it this way, you'd have a slight amount of slop, but not much.
You know,
Because
we were talking about that the other night. Somebody said that the cables, when you continually use them, wear so bad. If you have a problem with wear, or you're worried about wear, go to a bicycle shop and get the stuff that they use for gear cables. Because I got to thinking about it, and I've got thousands of miles on my bicycle, 6 sets of tires, and they don't wear out quick. I don't know how many cross state rides I've done and everything else, and I've never had to change the cables on my Specialized bike. And those cables just don't wear. You just don't get anywhere if you'll put a couple drops of Teflon lube in there and work it in. You'll never have a problem with it. And there's no way that our control cabinets get as much wear as my brake cables do. So that might
Yeah,
be your solution.
when you
There's
want to
no
stop,
stopping.
you want to stop.
Yeah, really. And I
yeah.
change gears a lot too, and that's all
Now
flawless. This bike's
this is
12 years old and it works great.
this is what
That
the
that
bicycle
ought to work.
shop sold me, and it's 100% waterproof, I think, or waterproof lubrication. It's rust and corrosion prevention, and you use it all over your bike. You use it in the gears, you use
Yeah.
it in your cables, you use
Yeah, I've
it
seen it.
everywhere.
That's good
And
stuff.
yeah, so if you do something like that to pre-treat your cable, I don't think you'd probably ever have a problem
You'll
with
never
it.
have a problem. Like I say, my bike's
Now,
10 years old, and I don't know how many thousand miles are on it, but that's what we use. Something like that's what we use. I have used that on it, I think. Wouldn't swear to it, but I think we've used that very product, and it works. And those cables, I mean, I look at them every year. I looked at them the other day, getting ready for another season. I thought, well, do I need to change them? And there's no slop, and there's no nothing. So I'm going to leave them another year. Oiled them up a little
here,
bit, put a few drops of that on it, and away you go.
here, Charles, I'll show you my fancy old man bike. I'm
Uh-oh.
sure it ain't. I'm sure it ain't as good as yours, um,
It
but it's
don't have to
pretty
be good.
cool.
You just have to, the trick is just get out and use it.
Yeah, and I do pretty good at that. Not so much lately, but that is a Townie.
Oh
A
wow.
Townie. That's a neat bike. Oh, you've got my wife's type seat. I
Yeah.
bought my wife a bike that looks just like the one Lance Armstrong won his first Tour de France on, the USPS bike. And she
Hmm.
wanted a tractor seat on it.
Yeah,
Hey, they're comfortable.
they are. They're very comfortable.
That's her thing. She
Well,
wants comfort.
the whole thing about the Townie is if you look at it, most bikes, the pedals are down here, right
Yeah,
at this fork. A
yeah.
Townie comes forward. So for old guys like me, you it makes you sit up straight because your feet are more forward, and so you lean back more. You don't get all hunched
Oh,
over.
nice.
That's pretty slick.
Yeah, it's not a cheap bike, but I got it with the fancy brown tires and the camouflage,
That's cool.
uh,
That's cool.
thing.
Well, next
So
time I come to Florida, I have to bring a couple of our bicycles and we'll go do some riding.
yeah, I know a couple good
I
places.
don't go fast. I go long distance. I found out a long time ago on these multi-day rides, these kids that take off and they go on we got 100 miles to ride today, 118 miles. They take off like a shot. Somewhere between now and that 118 miles, I'm gonna pass those suckers because they're passed out on the side of the road somewhere.
Yeah.
And they just ride on by them and wave and say, "Yeah, you should have slowed down and paced yourself a little bit."
It's the rabbit. It's the rabbit and the hare.
That's exactly right. I didn't get this old by being stupid.
Hey, Phil.
Yes, sir.
What size wheels you got on your bike?
Mine's 26. The 29ers are the newest thing for the mountain bikes, but I don't have one of those. I still have two 26. I've got a full suspension and a hardtail, and they're both 26. And then the road bikes are 26. But I think all the road bikes are 26.
Yeah, my Townie's 26.
I've seen something when I was over at Walmart. Actually, there was a more like a road bike, but it was like 27 or 29. So is it
29er is the mountain bikes? Yeah.
Well, I'm tall, not as tall as you, but I've got real long legs. So
yeah,
I always had a problem with 26s. It felt like I was trying to pedal a scooter.
yeah. I'm telling you, it's interesting. You know, I have not done any of the mechanics on my bike other than just oil it up and let it go. When I have a problem, I got one mechanic. I take it down to the bike shop and I say, Mike, can you work on this? He said, bring it back tomorrow. I'll bring it back the next day, and Mike will work on it while I'm there. And I put it back in the car and I bring it home because he's the only one I really trust to work on that bike. But he knows all the tire sizes and everything by heart. I don't keep up with that mess anymore, but I think it's just standard 26.
Yeah.
It's nothing special.
It's just like cars. You need a good mechanic.
Yeah.
I got a guy up in Wesley Chapel that, at least once a year, I'll take it up there to him and he goes through the whole bike and he adjusts all the gears and the brakes and checks everything out. And, and then all I really do is just keep it lubed up and keep air in the tires.
That's all I do. Lube it occasionally.
Phil, we got some good bike trails down here.
Oh, I know. I've been down there. I did a bike ride down there. I can't remember what it was called, and I went out to Arizona and did a ride out there. And oh, brother, it got hot.
Hey, guys, I got a question for you. It actually has to do with airplanes.
Thank you, John. You're the man.
Y'all familiar with the infamous hangar rash? And how you can fly an airplane for months and not do any damage, and then you go take it in the house, you knock the tail off. Yeah. I did that with my Torino when we first moved into where I live now. Okay, yesterday I knocked one of the tails off. It's a twin boomer. So yesterday I was getting it into the workshop. It's the first product in there because I was going to glue the rudder and that back on and all that. And I went to set it down, and I hadn't cleared I had brought the desk with all the drawers up and set it in. Had the drawers stacked up on top. So I thought, well, I'll just set it here lightly on these drawers. And I slipped. Boom. Would you believe I put a hole through? It's not so bad. It's
yeah, John, I believe it. I took the tail of the Pathfinder LE and stuck it into the ceiling fan.
No.
Oh no!
Why does this happen? Why is it? You'll do more damage.
I think the planes are meant to be flown. Excuse me. And when we do anything other than fly them, we're susceptible to damage.
Yeah,
it's gotta be. I've done more. Yeah, I've done more damage in and around the house and moving around and that, putting it in and out of the car, but not very little flying. I think in the last 30 years I've crashed 3 airplanes.
Yeah, right.
Heck, I've crashed.
Hey, Joe Gilbert coming
times.
in here. Unbelievable.
Really?
Yeah.
Joe Gilbert.
Gilbert.
Well, Joe, welcome to you, Joe.
Let's see how long it takes Joe to figure this out.
It won't take Joe long. It won't take Joe long.
He's a
That's a
computer
pretty
whiz.
smart fella.
He's smart. He's smart with airplanes.
So
I'm
Joe,
gonna
just to
tell you
give you
what.
a hint,
If you
you
know
gotta
anybody,
turn on the microphone, which is you might see it down in the bottom of your screen on the left,
In
and
the
then on
middle.
the right of the phone is the video. So you need to enable both of those.
this is Mr. Ringmaster coming here.
Let's see, and if that doesn't work,
Oh, he
Joe,
flies other things. He flies other things, and he'll beat you with those too.
I don't care what else he's got. When I saw him legitimately whoop a bunch of guys in profile with a ringmaster and they're flying high zoot airplanes, I said then he's the king. That's it. He's Mr. Ringmaster. Used to be Roy Phillips, but Roy Phillips has been beat. Roy came to our contest years ago. Now, granted, it was when Roy was a bit younger and he was a lot healthier than he is now and all, but he came to our contest with a ringmaster that looked like it was completely covered in monocoque. Fox 35, nothing special. He whooped us in old time. He whooped us in profile. He whooped us in classic. And he took third or fourth in open with a ringmaster.
I think that's called taking you guys to school.
He did. He took us to school big time, and then we had a special award for him. We went out, came up with one, and went out and made it right quick for the guy flying one airplane in the most events. And they had a picture of a little ringmaster on it, and put Mr. Ringmaster Roy Phillips. And he about teared up on that one. He's a cool guy.
He is
a really neat guy.
I met him at Brodax. That's when I first met Joe. And Joe is such a kick in the pants. And I just
Joe's a mess. Joe is a mess.
Joe's my man.
He is the man.
Full-size airplane pilot too.
You ever sit next to his group when the award ceremony at BSC? And every time one of them Texans wins something, they all break up, stand up, and start singing "The Eyes of Texas Are Upon You."
Oh Lord!
They have a good time.
Oh, there he is. We got the video.
Hey,
how about that? Hey, Joe.
Well, we scared him
when he said he had a chipmunk. He's got a real chipmunk.
Okay, that's about 3 minutes, Joe.
Hey,
Joe,
they're gonna first time.
Joe, I tell you before you get started, brother, you come in here for a little fun and fellowship. You're gonna get made fun of, talked down.
What happened to him?
Where'd he go?
Scared him away.
I shouldn't have told him then.
He'll be back.
I shouldn't have told him what to expect.
Yeah,
he hit that red button when he's trying to hit something else. That's what happened because I've done that.
That's probably what happened. Good guess.
Yeah.
So he'll be back.
Hey, I got a question for you.
Go for it.
It seems to me like I see a lot of line, the little reels on different planes. So do you have a line reel or lines for each plane? Or do you use lines for several planes?
No. One plane, one handle, one set of wires. In fact, most of my planes have 2 handles and 2 sets of wires because I have solids for contest or for bright days, and I'll have another set of lines, another set of handles that's got woven lines, braided lines for bad days, sloppy days.
Huh. Wow.
And now that they got now that Charles has turned me on to these cotton picking brass lines, I don't know what that's going to come to. It's all Charles' fault.
Yeah, blame it on me.
Well, don't forget, we're liable to have spectral lines legal by next year. So,
if I'm gonna make a prediction, I'll make a prediction for you. If they allow spectral lines, I don't care what pound test. If they allow spectral lines, ain't nobody gonna want to fool with 12s or 8s. There just won't be any more 12s or 8s. Because you can take
they're
Titan,
too fragile.
You take Spectre, wind it up in a knot, throw it in the bottom of your tackle box or your flank box. Next time you go out there, just unwind it and get the knots out of it. Go out and fly with it. Never worry about it.
Wow.
The stuff is about indestructible. And if it finally gets a kink or something, it looks like it's dried out. Get you some real magic. Spray a couple sprays on it. Run around a little bit, and it's perfect again. I've got to set them out in the backyard. Been out there at least 8 months.
Mm-hmm.
And we took them out and hooked them to a little half A and flew them. And they're laying under they're out there laying under the deck.
I destroyed a brand new set of 8s for half A in one afternoon. Just, you know, by the time the day was done, they were all kinked up to I couldn't fly them anymore.
Well, I have a set of
12s.
I have 2 sets of 8s and 2 sets of 12s downstairs that I got from Bill before he died, and they're all ready to go to a contest. But as far as practice flying, I don't use that junk. I use the Spectra because it's just too darn fragile, especially in the grass.
I just can't see why. I can't see why Spectra, why they're holding up on allowing Spectra. I mean, they've been doing it in combat now for what, 3 years or so?
I don't know, but I got the same Spectra 20-pound test on my flipping rod. It's been on there for at least 5 years, and I haven't changed it yet. You won't find, I've got 17 rods in my boat. You won't find another rod that's had the same line on it for more than 3 months. Period. Right. It just don't happen because it gets kinks in and all kinds of mess. Spectra don't do that.
Yeah.
There's just no problems with this stuff. And now it used to be, everybody's argument was, well, it's flat wound, so it flies funny and it does this and it does that. Now it's round. The new stuff is round, and you just don't have any problems with it. So it's going to be nice. But
yeah, I'm looking forward to it because I mean, like, I got a cat behind me.
Yeah.
I've got to get the, I see the cat, the white cat back there. I've got to get some lines in. Haven't found the box yet that I got all my handles and lines in. So I can't really fly until I make up some new lines. And I'm trying to see, should I invest in steel lines or brass lines, or should I just wait and invest in the Spectra one? I think I'm going to invest in Spectra because I'm sure it's going to come through. If it doesn't, I'll use it for flying around here.
Well, I mean, you're not going to hurt anything with it. I mean, the new standard is they've gone to the pull test. As long as it'll hold 10 times what the plane weighs, you can fly it. That's what the new rule is, as far as I've heard. That's the new ruling to the best of my knowledge, anyway, is 10 times the weight of the airplane.
Well,
where'd John go? John, where'd you
go? That's what I understand, and I'm right here.
Okay.
Yeah, we hear you. We don't hear you anymore.
I'm right here.
Well, you disappeared on my screen, but anyway.
Well, anyway, I am here. 10 times, like most stunt ships are 4.5 pounds, 5. You know, so you're looking at 40, 50 pounds of full.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. So if you get
40-pound test, 2 lines at 40-pound test, that's 80 pounds.
Well, if you get 80-pound test and you get it and it's the size of let's see, that would be 80-pound test is the size of about 10-pound monofilament. That's still about the size of our wire, 14 size wires now. So I mean, you know, we're still at least even in the game and probably ahead of the game. And
I'm wondering, not that it's the reason why it hasn't been accepted yet, but I'm wondering if part of a potential reason is that on your braided steel lines, it's rather easy to see any areas of weakness, maybe a strand's broken, or you can it's easier to tell if where a failure is liable to happen. I don't know if it's so easy to identify a weakness in a Spectra line where can you tell that's gonna give you a problem? I have no idea. I doubt it's a reason.
Peter, it's a woven line, so you just look down it, and if you've hit something with it and it's starting to fray, that's where you change it. I mean, that's what it is on our fishing rods. If we run it up against the docks or something, and we see a frayed place, okay, you cut your line, retie, and keep getting it. But on the model lines, you just replace them.
I was just like, just threw it out there, just wondering if it's as easy to tell if there's some sort of fault in the line on Spectra.
I brought a 10-pound bass in, and the line looked like it was cut half in two, and it still brought that fish in. It was 20-pound line. Granted, it was 20-pound line, but that line had been over a bolt under I skipped it in under a dock, and it went over a bolt, and it had frayed that line coming back over that bolt for about 15 feet before I was able to get the rod tip in there and knock it off of it. And I still got the fish in the boat. So it's the stuff's a lot stronger than people want to give it credit for. Because I was against it from the get-go. Because first time I used it was the old flat wound stuff, and it went on your rod, went on your reel, and instead of winding nice and light, this stuff was flat wound. So one piece would get kinked and it would dig down in it. You go to set a hook or something, and it digs down in there. You go to cast the next time, and you cast out that far, and all of a sudden, just like having a backlash.
Spider's nest.
Yeah, it was. It was a mess. It was an absolute mess. And
let me interrupt
spider
you guys for
wire
a
and all that
second.
stuff.
Let me interrupt. Hey, Carl, how you doing, Carl?
Turn your sound on, Carl.
No, we don't hear you, Carl.
Oh, there we go.
There we go. So how you doing?
Yeah. Good.
Good. I just wanted to say hi to you. I just couldn't get my word in, so I had to interrupt.
Oh, that's okay.
All right.
Appreciate
And
it.
I'm going to shut up and eat my ice cream.
let me catch up on the chat box. And Al Ferrero says 100-pound test is 18 thousandths in Power Pro. And earlier, Jeff Riley said the sound is good on YouTube. And Alexander Third said, yes, all is good. Thank you guys in the chat box. Appreciate it. And we'll continue on with our show.
Hey, I'll say with the Spectra lines, that's all that Angstrom and I fly with, my son. But I literally just bought 500 yards of it, 65-pound stuff for 500 yards of it for $17. Wow. I mean, like, I don't know. I haven't been around the sport a long time, but when I first got into it and was using wire lines and stuff, we were kinking them and having issues with them. But I was paying like 20 cents or $20 for a reel. I mean, I just got 500 yards of line.
Yeah. That's 1,500 feet.
Yeah, that I can use. It was yards, 500 yards of it for $20.
That's a good price.
265-pound lines be 130 pounds. When they're pulled together. So that would definitely. I bet you that they're right around. If 100-pound is about 18,000, equivalent to 18,000 steel, 65-pound probably very close to 15,000. Now I've got to practice tying the Palomar knot.
Yeah, that's been the hardest thing for me, trying to get it just right and just perfect on there for the length I want. That's the hardest part.
Mike showed us a way, and I'm going to have to ask him to do it again. But he showed us a way to do a double bite around what you're tying it to, and how to set it so that you put a mark on there with a little felt tip, and you can get them exact.
Exactly. Yeah, we do. I'll get some. I'll try to find some light rope and show y'all how to do it with that. And
okay.
Then, and then show you how to do it with regular line. It's easy. Once you get the concept in your head to keep the lines straight instead of under and over each other, laying over each other, just to keep the knot straight to get 100% knot. After you tie 3 or 4 of them, it's a no-brainer. You just get used to it that easy. But the trick is to make it end up the length you want every time, and that trick is put a little mark on it, and you put that mark the same place every time, and it works every time.
Bill, when I was salmon fishing, I was catching 40, 50-pound fish, and I would use, I don't remember what you call it, but you run a loop through the eye, bring it up, let it twist it up, but eight turns. So, 8
turns, and then back through just above the hoop, and then back through that and pull it tight. The fisherman's knot.
Yeah. Now, is that like the Palomar knot or what?
No, no.
Come on.
That knot will actually cut the line will actually cut itself. It'll pinch itself. The Palomar won't do that. It's because everything just lays over. It's still line on line, and it's hard to explain. But if you ever see one of these, if you ever go to a fishing show and you see them demonstrate the same line in 10 different knots, and they put it on there, and this one's 50% knot, and this is a 70% knot. The only 100% knot was the Palomar. It pulled. You had 100-pound line. It had 10-pound line on there, and it pulled actually like 12, 14 pounds before it broke. So they called that 100% knot. But there's somebody that can show us too. Mike's real good with knots.
Oh,
How the heck are you, Michael?
He's a sailor, so.
I would like to see him demonstrate that eventually about putting it right on the spot every time. That would be good.
Mike can probably do it. Mike can probably show it better than I do because I get nervous.
Are you? You must be talking about Spectre knots, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Palomar.
That one where you do that double around the, and that.
Yeah, it's not a Palomar. It's called a modified surgeon's knot, is what it is.
Well, whatever it is, you're able to tie them and get them pretty close to exact match.
Yeah, pretty easy, within like 1/8 of an inch usually, because it doesn't matter. Well, actually, I can get them dead nuts every time because it doesn't matter how big the loop is. It's where you make your mark for the termination, which is the end point. So everyone gets hung up on the size of the loop. That doesn't matter. As long as your mark is where you want it, the loop don't matter. And I'll show it a little bit later here. We've been watching on YouTube there for a little while, and I've got some company over, so I'm going to turn my mic off, but I will join back in and show that knot. If anyone.
Hey, Mike, hang on before you leave, Mike. Joe Gilbert came in for a minute.
Did he?
Yeah. And I don't know what happened. He was in here. We actually saw him for a little bit of a time, but I don't know what happened.
Okay. I can call him and see what happened. I can give him a call and see what happened.
Oh, that'd be great if you could.
Yeah, I can do that. And Phil, don't get off here too soon because I got a question for you too. I need about 15 or 20 minutes, and then I'll be back in with my mic. Okay.
All right.
And we can do the knot thing too. All right.
Hey, Mike. This is Carl.
Yeah.
Did you send that stuff to me that we talked about on Monday?
I did. I'm sorry. I didn't get it out till Thursday. It went in the. It went in the mailbox yesterday morning.
That's fine. I just want to make sure that nothing happened to it. That's the reason I was asking.
No, it just got picked up by the mailman yesterday morning, so I expect you'll have it early next week.
Okay, cool.
Come on.
Okay, all right.
Come on, pretty.
All of our cats are trying to get into the show here.
Yeah.
Mine left. He had his moment of fame and left.
Whisker's the thing about it. He's hanging out underneath the table over there where my plane is.
I got a little bit of work done in my shop. Got things straightening up a bit. I'm ready to start gluing stuff together now. I got to stop by the lumber yard and pick up a sheet of sheetrock though, because I need to put a new clean sheet on the top of my desk, and then I'm pretty well. I've got to find some boxes that have parts and tools and stuff. I've got about 10 boxes in there, but I got about another 10 or 15 down the basement, and I don't know how many still out in the garage. So, but I'm getting there.
Very good.
And the room keeps getting smaller and smaller and smaller. Have you ever noticed that?
Yeah.
You start out with this huge room, and then it gets small.
Yeah, I've always wondered how that happens because I started out, I thought I got a 2-car garage, man. I got plenty of room. Time I put the woodworking equipment in there and put the table, a 4x8 table in there, and put the workbenches in there to put the saws and the lathe and all the stuff on, man. I can barely walk down there. I need a bigger garage.
Well, you talk about. I've got a really nice wing jig that I got some parts, to make a millennial style wing. Little uprights, and you adjust and get everything set dead, nuts level. Doesn't matter where the base is. The base can be tilted or whatever, but you set it all dead nuts level. Well, I've managed in the period of time that it's from moving to where it was to moving to here to go down to the basement and come back up and going into the workroom. I've managed to break off 2 of those uprights and lose about 6 of the clamp, the top clamp parts. So and bend a couple over, and so I've got all kinds of little projects to fix up. But I'll have to show you this wing jig setup I made. I made it so the base sits on the top of the table, but these uprights are mounted on arms that I can adjust. I adjust it for a swept back trailing edge or swept forward trailing edge. I can adjust for the cord at the root and at the tips. I can adjust for the angle of the leading edge sweep, and I can do all of that on this and then set it up wing perfectly.
Sounds like what you need. That sounds like you can do the whole wing if you're adjusting sweep.
Yeah, I do the whole wing at one time when I build it.
Yeah. We have a
I'm
nice
trying to figure
that.
out what the heck this thing is that he's adjusting there. I can't figure out what that thing is. What is that? That thing? Yeah, that thing. Oh gosh, I'm not good with names.
You talking about Jim?
Not Howard. Although I'm in awe of Howard's shop. That's just ridiculously neat.
You talking about Jim? Jim Smith?
Jim, yeah. No, the guard.
Prison guard.
Oh, yeah. Brendan.
No, what I'm doing?
Yeah.
What is it?
It's a fuselage.
I'm just working on a fuselage.
The thing was so shiny, I thought it was plastic.
No, I've been monocoating a fuselage for a plane.
Okay. I see the backside of it. Had me going there for a minute. I thought, what the heck is he working on?
Yeah, whatever you were talking about, I was like, there's no way he's talking about me and what I'm doing. So
yes way.
It looked really shiny there for a minute. Hey, Trayan, how are you, buddy? Good to see you in here.
Good.
Hi, Trayan.
I need to know if Howard can get any more of those shelves for the drawings from Boeing.
I don't know. I'd like to have one of those myself. Trayan's got one too.
Yeah,
they had them at work, but I never got to get one.
Well, I'd love to have one.
Nice blueprint. The blueprint table's what we're talking
about.
Yeah,
it's sort of a long story. Boeing Surplus Store they've gone online now. They don't have a retail place anymore, which makes it not worth living in Seattle anymore. But they had this deal. They had a whole lot of these things, all different shapes and sizes. I think there were 10 of them, and you had to go pick them up. So I bid on it and bought them, and we rented a truck and just drove all. Got some subscribers and drove all over town distributing these things. Paul Walker got one. Steve Helmick got one, and I got 2 of them. I had one from before, and the orange one from Dave Gardner. So
wow,
yeah,
those are nice.
Getting those things. Yeah,
those are nice.
I got balsa in most of them.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I'd have to alphabetize my plans and put them in it just so I wouldn't have 7 boxes of plans. That's ridiculous.
Well, the nice thing about it with plans is you can lay them flat. So when you go to work with them, they're flat. They don't curl up on you.
Well, that'd be nice in that, but I have to roll them up. I don't have any other choice, right?
I know. I say that, but that's why those drawers are so handy. Is you can lay them that way.
Yeah, we used to have. Every time I had to get into one of those, it was a problem because I was looking up an intersection where is something that's either buried or overhead that you can't find or something. Oh boy.
Yeah.
It was always fun. But
hey, John, I have a question for you, John. Did you make your wing jig, or did you buy it commercially?
Well, I made the base, the thing, but the uprights and that I bought them commercially, but they're not. The guy isn't making them anymore. It was a guy in Colorado. It's called, I think, P47 or something, machining. But anyway, they were they were advertised in Stunt News, and I bought a set. They weren't cheap. It was about $80 or $90 for the whole set, but they're very well made, you know, and all the parts. Well, anyway, so at one point, I called him and I asked him if he minded if, since he wasn't making them anymore, if he minded if I took the measurements and gave them to Brodak and had Brodak make them and make them available. And he seemed to not like that idea. So, but I haven't seen or heard anything about it, and he hasn't made any more. So I don't know what the deal on that is. But I do have the drawings for it. I made drawings up for it, so that I could reproduce them. So the two that I've broken or lost, I'll just make me some new ones. I've got all the dimensions, the drawings. I could actually send the drawings out so he can make the parts for me. But that's more expensive than I can afford right at the moment. But it works really well.
Carl's interested in a wing jig. Carl Reed, he wants a wing jig.
Does he? Yeah. I'll tell you, you know, I've got two wing jigs. One, I got a rod jig that I built 30 years ago, and it's still around. I could actually build it. Plans out of, I actually didn't have to have plans. It's just an article in RCM, Radio Control Modeler. And
God, that was a long time ago.
Oh yeah, and actually I built a foam cutter, an automatic foam cutter. I used a drop leaf on the back to cut the control the speed, and I'd get it all set up. You did them one side at a time, so I'd set it up, get the wire ready, and then I just had a little switch. You know, used a dimmer switch actually. I clicked that sucker on, and the wire would heat up, and that falling leaf would just fall down and go right up over, cut, stop, you know, where the stops were, and I'd shut it off, pull it back, and I could cut a wing so fast with that thing, and every one of them, because it was all being pulled at the same time, at the same weight, at the same speed, it was pretty even for an old guy like me. Well, I wasn't that old then. I was about 47 or 50, somewhere in there when I did it.
He was a young fella then.
Yeah, look at me now. You'd never believe it.
Brodak sells a wing jig for $40, I think.
Yep. Yeah, that's a rod jig.
Yep. So is that worth buying, or is that a waste of money?
No,
I mean, concerning, is it a good wing jig?
It is a good wing jig. Right there, Pete bought one. I think he's showing it to you right now.
Yeah, those are the rods, and they have stanchions that it sits off of, which I don't know where they are right now, with holes.
How would you say, was it worth the money, Pete?
Yeah, actually, it was worth the money. The only drawback is there, you know, depending on the size of the model you're making, you have to build one half wing panel at a time. But it's no big deal. Once to join them after you've got the two halves done, you just, like I said, once you get both the halves, so the wing's done.
I too.
Then all you do is you insert the rods, but you don't go all the way out to the wingtips, and that way you can hold everything in alignment to join the two halves together.
Now, is that a variable setup where you can build different size wings?
No, well,
as long as you don't go too long or too large.
Or there's no the wing jig holds the rods at a set distance apart. So as long as your ribs are drilled, cut, holes are cut at that distance apart and are straight, you can. There you go.
The rods would sit. The rods, you put one on each end, and then the rods, depending on what the hole spacing is for the on the ribs.
Yeah,
these will hold the rods at a certain distance and a certain height off the building surface.
Okay, thank you.
Hey,
yeah,
to make it longer, I haven't quite gone there yet, but I did buy 2 of those the wing jigs you're talking about, and there was a guy Pete Klepsik he put me onto that if you drill the ends of those rods and you put like a metal dowel in there, you can actually then extend the wing jig to make it so you can do a full longer wing.
As long as you're able to as long as you'd be able to center everything and make sure they're perfectly straight.
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And then what it is these go on either end of the rods. These sit on top like that. And then the rods go through, so you'd have one on each end, and pretty much that holds everything. It holds everything straight as an arrow. I mean, it does work.
Okay. Thank you.
You bet.
I got chastised one time. I got chastised one time for making that comment, Peter. I told somebody you could build a wing as straight as an arrow using this rig, and they wanted to fuss at me because it's not going to be as straight as an arrow. I said, well, I don't know why I'm using 4 arrow shafts. I mean, that's what I use. That's what I use. 4 carbon fiber arrow shafts is what I use.
Yeah.
And it works. So anyway.
Well, you use the shafts instead of the rods that comes with the kit?
Well, no, the rods.
You can use it. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I have used both. I have some 3/8 steel rods downstairs that's like Wendy used to use, and I found a problem to that, and I'll tell you about that in a minute. But that works great. And the only problem, I'll go ahead and tell you now, the only problem with the 3/8 steel rod is don't leave it in your jig and leave it unsupported in the center, because it will over time droop.
Yeah.
That's a problem. You have to worry about straightening it. And the way to straighten it, nobody thinks about it. It's very simple. Mark it. If you see that they're drooped, go in there and mark those rods with a magic marker, and mark the very top of it, or mark the end of it vertical. Now turn it the other way and put a little bit of weight on it and let it sag. Don't go in there and try to pull on it. Don't go in there and try to pull.
Now the only drawback I found to them was, at least when you're using the ribs that came with, this is the Saginaw wing, the ribs that came with the Brodak kit, is that the holes that they made in the ribs are a little bit tight. It's the best way to describe it. So when I was dealing with the laser cut ribs, when I was trying to push the rod through the holes, you have your cutouts in your ribs. You see how this is all open here?
Yeah.
Well, they're all like that. And what happened was, I was pushing the rod through, it was knocking out these laser cut.
Yeah.
The laser
cut. What
I ended up having to do is I ended up having to put a piece of tape on each rib to keep those pieces from getting knocked out, so I can actually get the rod through, because it was kind of a snug fit.
And you couldn't sand the hole a little bit to make it a looser fit, or that distort the
rib? You don't want it to be too loose, because then you so that's why they're cut where they're actually a slight friction fit, so that it holds it real stronger.
Yeah.
And so
it was no big deal. Once I just discovered it, I just took some blue, regular blue, 3M blue masking, painter's tape, and I just put it over the pieces those laser cut inserts, and I just put them over there just so they wouldn't pop out, and everything was fine. And once I had the wing together, I just peeled the tape off, and that's and popped them out.
Let me say hi to Al. Hey, Al, thanks for coming in.
Hey, Charles. How you doing?
Hey, how's it
guys.
Well,
good.
That 3/8 tube he was talking about, that's hollow, right? That's the reason why it would sag. It's not a solid piece of 3/8.
No. The 3/8 was solid steel.
Oh, it is.
3/8 was solid steel. Yes, it's 6 feet long.
And it was still, okay, it would.
It'll still sag. What you do,
but a carbon fiber or a fiberglass arrow shaft won't do that. It's more
No.
Okay.
No, I used to build it on the windy rods. I call them the windy rods, because Wendy's one turned me on to that. But if you watch Al Raby's videos, he used carbon fiber rods. He also was the first one I ever saw use carbon fiber or push rods fiberglass push rods, fiberglass arrow shafts for push rods.
Mm-hmm.
So that they didn't bend in the middle.
Right.
Yeah. But now I've got into doing that, and downstairs I made up my own little thing you put a rib in it, and you come down, you cut a hole here, and you cut a hole here, and you put it on this thing and build a wing in no time. But that being said, I build most of my wings now as a new Millennium wing. But I've been putting that extra spar in for quite a while. I don't know. I don't know why I started doing that, but I did. But
it's like when on that flight Pathfinder that Pete's building.
Mm-hmm.
Gordon worked out a really neat system where it has a little tab in one area. No, it doesn't use tab. The main spar, the center, the web for the spar has got a tab on it, so it holds the center right under the spar, holds that up. You can put the top flat spar. It uses 1/8 by 3/8, I believe, flat spars on the wing, and then back at the tail section at the trailing edge, it has a little notch and it has a little spar set up that goes back in there, and that when you get them all locked in, that holds the wing up level. So if you've got a flat surface, you've got your jig right there.
Yeah, so
then when you
yeah,
go ahead.
Like I was saying, some kits are designed. It's built into the wing ribs and the spars that actually have like a jig built into them. And once you're done with the wing, you just cut away those pieces.
Yeah, that works. That works well too. There's like the old saying goes, you've heard all your life. There's more than one way to skin a cat. But the best one I've seen yet is the molded wing. That's cool. Light, strong, and it's repeatable.
Repeatable, yes.
Trans proved that.
Let me interrupt you guys. The chat box, we have Timothy, the board, and he says, I have found the design to be worth the money, but the material's very inexpensive. We need to keep them sanded so there's no CA on them. And
what's he talking about?
I remember Wendy Ranowski, he used to wax the rods.
Yeah, that probably
Peter, if you would have waxed the rods so they would have fit through the ribs easier.
Probably, I would admit, but you learn things as you go along. It was the first time I've ever used a rod type jig, and that was just my observation. That's all. It was easy to solve one way or the other. Probably if I would have waxed them, they would have slipped right through.
All right, cool.
They work better if you wax them, but also the glue don't.
Oh, wax them.
Glue doesn't stick. Yeah, that's you use like ultra thin CA, and you kind of like that stuff gets everywhere. You definitely don't want those on your the rods of the jig.
And then since we're talking about
where I don't use CA on the wing.
Since we're talking about jigs and jig building wings and that, we can't pass up Bob Hunt's jig setup that he does. Where he cuts the
lost foam.
The lost foam, yeah.
Lost foam technique.
That's hard to beat.
That's hard to beat because you got a form that you're building the wing in, and it builds straight, and you can repeat it over and over and over again. Yeah, that's very similar to what I've got there, Jim.
Yeah, of course.
We bought this. It could have been the same guy. I found one of these. They don't make them anymore, but I found a whole set. And basically what it is, it was quite a while ago. You build your base, and then what we did, you got like a wooden base.
Excuse me, I got another battery ready.
It'll hold 2 aluminum flat pieces that have a slot cut in them.
Right.
And then you got all these little screws like this that they'll slide inside the groove so you can space your piece here. And then this piece, it has a slot so you can slide it up and down. So on one end, you take this little bar here, this is actually a little bar, and it's got a screw in it that comes in and tightens it down. It has a Delrin washer, and it just goes right into the hole. And then the bar is on the other side, and you just slide it up and down and set the tip, then put your level on it. Go to the next one down. There's about, God, there's a boatload of them. and you can do a lot of adjusting with this. Now, the only thing about this one is that it's built for more like a Millennium wing. You have to have a leading edge and a trailing edge because you're going to use two of these for each leading edge and trailing edge. You'll have one here and then say one down here. Let me get my finger in there, maybe. Oh.
And raise it up a little bit, Jim, please. Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So you'd have two of them in here like this. Two of them on this piece here. It comes down, makes a 90, and you've got that piece that comes through. And you just set the farthest one at the tip. You set one at the center. You build your wing in two halves. Although you could build it in one half if you want. Doesn't matter. But you just basically lock the right here. Right here, you lock this one in. You got one on top, one on bottom. You put the bottom one in first. Put your level on all the way out to the other one, and you lock the bottom one in there. Then you take another one that's on top, and you bring it down, and you lock it in, and you lock it in at the root of the wing. I keep wandering down. And so it's super accurate, but these things are really expensive. They are machined aluminum.
Okay.
All these little pieces here are machined aluminum. I don't remember the name of it, but if you ever are hunting around and you see something that looks like this, buy it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it is just awesome.
What Jim was mentioning about setting the for level is see if I can help him out on it. You take the one, either the center one or the one closest to the center and the tip one, and you set one of them. Then you put. I use a straight aluminum piece of aluminum, and I'll come along and I'll put my a torpedo level on it.
Yeah.
And then I'll bring it over to the other far one, and I'll bring slide that piece up from the bottom. So I've got it sitting on.
Yeah.
And then
up or down to get level.
Up or down and get the torpedo bubble level, and then I'll lock it in. Now I leave that piece of aluminum in place, and I bring them all up and lock them in because that piece of aluminum is straight. Now you have to transfer over to the other side, and the way you do that, very similar. But you all you have to do is get the one on the end, get it to match the other one on the end, and now you can do the same thing. Bring the bar over, slide it up, but now you got it set. When you're building your wing, at your leading edge, you got a little slot that goes in 1/8 by 3/8 or 1/8 by 1/4, and that's balsa that is clamped between those two pieces. So you get it in there. I set them in, and I clamp it down, make sure that it's held level, lock it in place, and now I'm ready to build. The wings are going to go together real quick and easy. It doesn't take long once you got it all locked in and leveled to get your wing pretty. You can get about, I'd say, 85 to 90% before you got to take it out and turn it over. Now, another thing that I do is when I've got the wing framed up, I will cut the front the front piece, that front strip that's in there. flush with the nose of the airfoil. And then a trick that Bob Hunt taught me is I use those little balsa pieces that you can buy that, like they've got the leading edge airfoil on them. And I'll wrap those with saran wrap, and then I'll form a balsa leading edge, just a little cap. Once the next day they're dry, I'll slip that cap on, get them all on, and get both caps on. And now I can just literally take a piece of balsa wood. I don't even have to wet it usually, but if I want, I can wet one side lightly, glue it, set it in place, glue it, let it dry, let the glue set, and now I've got my leading edge is perfectly shaped.
Has anybody actually found any of those molded balsa wood leading edges? The ones that already had. I haven't seen those in years.
I have. They're probably years and years old, but I've seen them at the hobby shops.
Oh yeah, have you? I've not seen them for God's sake.
I've got about 4 of them, so But anyway, there's enough spring in the balsa. Say what?
You know what those are best used for?
What?
Paint,
molding a leading edge. No, I use them. My new ringmaster. I took one of those molded leading edges and glued it to a piece of wood that was the same width, but about 2 inches long. Mold your wood around that, and then just do just like Train did. Lay it on the table, take a knife and cut right down each side.
Exactly.
And mold your leading edge, and it works great. Works great.
Well, I found out
light wing and it's strong.
I found out that the one I have takes 1.5 inch strip of balsa. So I cut a balsa 1.5 inches wide, put it in the water, let it soak up some water. Now bring it out, put it on the saran wrap leading edge that I got, line it up, and it lines up perfectly. I don't even have to cut it with a strip or strip it to get it even. When it's dry, it comes out. It's beautiful. It's just like what Trainer showed us. But then I just slip it on, use a little white glue in there, and just slip it on in place, and pin it or do whatever you do to hold it in place, and it'll be light, be perfectly shaped, perfectly formed. That's what's on my leading edge of my Pathfinder LED.
Yeah, those are nice.
Well, the one trick that Trayan showed us that I don't think he thought he was showing us a trick, but I've always had trouble when you got a 48-inch leading edge or even a 30-inch leading edge. You try to mold all that at one time. You put 2 pieces of wood over that mold, trying to keep everything lined up and in line. Pin here, a pin here, start in the middle, work out to this and pull the pin out and tape it off. Then start here and go to the other end and pull the pin out.
Yeah.
So darn simple, and I never thought of it.
I know our minds are so huge and so mad. We don't think of the little things,
Yeah, that's right.
So
like the old saying goes, the devil's in the details. It's those little things that'll make or break you.
Yep.
Hey, just so you can see, this is a Millennium Wing. And the way leading edges and stuff are done on here is you can see this is the leading edge, and it gets rounded. And this was, I think we used 3/8 by 1/4, something like that. Then this piece that's in here that you see sticking out, that goes in between this top piece of 3/8 by 1/4, and then there's a bottom piece of 3/8 by 1/4. And so you're actually making a 3-piece leading edge, and you do the same thing on the trailing edge. And of course, you just leave them square, and that's what you're jigging into is right here. And then you can see a Millennium Wing. You just have the little ribs, the little partial ribs.
Right.
And those little ribs, we got a little jig. You just cut them. There's one size, and you just cut them to length. Yeah, and you just cut them to length, and then that rib just sticks right onto that little shelf you got there, and you glue it in. and then you cut it to length and on the trailing edge, and you glue it in. So it's a pretty good way of doing it. Now, but like I say, if you ever find one of those jigs like that, those are definitely worth the money. They're not
Hey,
cheap,
Jim.
but yeah.
Is there a template in the jig for the big hole in the wing?
No. This one, unfortunately, I might have shaken out the last. At the rear, in fact, I'll show you.
Yeah, you see that hammer on that table? He used that hammer to make that hole.
Oh no!
Where'd Howard go? The lights turned off.
Here he goes again.
Jim, you're hurting me here.
Oh no! What are you doing?
It
is my
painful.
gosh!
I told you use the hammer.
Oh,
hey man, I know how to do demos. You want to see it? I'll show you the inside.
Oh man, see, I tuned in late. I thought he was doing a repair on that wing and just showing the internal. Oh, I was like, dang.
Yeah. I would at least cut the parts out with a Dremel. Oh,
no way. Hey, Alvarado, how you doing, Al? Long time no see, buddy.
I got something to show you, Mike.
Okay, well, I got something to tell you. Well, these guys don't want to hear it. It's all combat stuff, but yesterday,
hearing that.
Yesterday,
hey, hear it, Mike.
Yesterday, Sam and I.
I think Jim's doing a demo of destroying a wing. I wonder if he's.
Yeah, we're gonna see the inside of that.
I don't know how to tell you this, but I'm an expert at destroying them. I need to learn how to build them better.
Yeah. Hey, Charles, can you make Al big so we can see what he's showing there?
Jim is doing a demo here.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm sorry. We'll wait for Jim to finish now.
I only got a second left to go.
Okay. Sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt.
You ain't got much of your wing left, brother. You done destroyed it.
Oh, no.
I rebuilt that thing.
Mike,
I could have done that for
him.
I saw you. I saw the picture of your truck, Mike. That's sweet.
Okay. You see these pieces right in, where are they?
Yeah, they're vertical.
Right in there.
See these little vertical pieces in the back?
Yeah.
That's what they used to put in.
Right.
And those things, you could not make them stay because over time, you know, the plane vibrates and does things like that. And so they would break loose. And then when you turn your wing upside, you know, one side or the other, you'd hear all these little things clicking down your wing. Click, click, click.
Right.
Right. Which is why I had the piece of tape. But what they do now is they put a spar back here, a rear spar, a vertical spar that runs just like the main spar, so that it won't break. You know, these spars. Well, y'all can go ahead. I'll see if I can expose the spar for us here.
Okay.
Can I show you guys how? Can I show you guys how I do a built-up wing?
Hang on a second. Mike wanted to show something to Al, and then
Al, turn your phone 90 degrees, or turn your phone 90 degrees. You'll get a full picture on it.
He can't because he's already started the video that way. He can't. Once you start it vertical, you can't. You got to start it. You can't do it.
Yeah,
that way.
I'm using my phone.
Okay.
Yeah. At a tough time logging in, but
who's big?
You're big.
Oh, well, make Al big.
Make Al big. Okay.
Mike's
Al,
big
hang on a second, Al.
Mike's big enough.
All right, Al, you're big.
Okay, well, see, Mike, I got the H&R shut off.
Yeah, did you get the 3s or the 2s?
The 3.
You got the 3, yeah.
Hooked it up. Engines all together. That's Cartier's. You know, I'm gonna test it out tomorrow. Gonna give it a try.
Excellent, excellent.
You know, and I got that McMaster car little tubing.
Did you get the white or the clear?
I got the black.
The black, okay. Yeah, I buy the clear, just because it's a little more robust than the black and the white.
Yeah.
Because you'll find the shutoff it'll start cutting the black and the white because it's a different material. It's a lot softer. Right. So I buy the clear stuff because it seems a little more robust. But that's what you got to have to go through the belt crank. Sure.
I did buy some of the clear stuff, but it's too. I think it's too strong. It's too thick. Unless I got the wrong stuff, because
it's actually not. It's just harder to get on the nipple on your needle valve. It's harder to push on the needle valve, and the black and the white is fine. It's just softer. So after you have quite a few shutoffs, it will cut the line. It'll cut the white and the black.
Yeah, because well, this is the stuff that Jeff told me to get. And
okay,
it's the strong. It was the strongest out of all the. It holds the most pressure out of all of them. You know.
Oh, okay.
So, got it from McMaster car, but the stuff that I got from the clear, I just bought it anyway since I was ordering, and it's the same exact stuff that was the clear stuff that's inside the Cox. You ever taken a Cox Black Widow apart?
Oh no! They make. I know what you're talking about, that hard plastic stuff. But
yeah,
I've got some clear neoprene that is just like the white and black. It's just stiffer.
And where do you get that from?
I know what you're saying. McMaster car. I bought it from McMaster car.
Text me the part number.
Okay, I'll have to look up my old order numbers to find.
Yeah.
So, well, it's I said latex. It's silicone. It's silicone tubing, clear, but it's not the hard. It's not the hard Cox stuff.
Right.
But it's harder than the white and the black, if that makes sense.
I think, let me see.
The white stuff is like the stuff that came on Norville engines, on the Norville 061s. You familiar? The white. It's real thin and supple, and it's very easy to slip over the bladder and very easy to slip on the needle valve on the remote, but it gets cut by the shutoff when it closes down all the time.
So is that better than the stuff that you can buy from Dubro, that fuel tubing that's kind of bluish?
Well, Carl, what we're dealing with here is these H&R bell crank shutoffs. Oh. There's only a very limited amount of space for the fuel tubing to pass through. So you have to use very thin fuel tubing to pass through the bell crank. You can't use any of the Dubro medium or it's like small diameter tubing.
Right. I have this. Where the hell's it? I have this stuff here. It's a smaller inside hole, though. It's the Prather small fuel tubing. You know, and this is silicone.
Yeah.
Well, your video's been turned off somehow, Al.
Oh.
So what kit is that? Foam wing? Is that an experimental kit that you made?
This is a Phil Cartier.
There you go.
Gotcha Psycho, Phil Cartier.
Are they available?
But this is
you can buy them from Phil.
Yeah, this is his fast version. It has the extended wingtips on it.
Yeah, and what size motor do you have on it?
That's a Nelson 36 Combat.
Okay.
But it's this wing's bigger than the wing in a Nobler.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, with the tips, isn't it 500 square inches, Al?
Yeah, it's 53. The span is 53 inches.
And he's got a half-inch prop on
it. Yeah. No, that's a 7.8 by 6.
It's an 09 prop.
36.
Yeah, it'll turn.
That's the pylon prop, right, Al?
What's that?
That's the pylon prop, the APC pylon prop,
Well, actually, it's
7.86.
an APC racing prop.
Yeah.
Racing prop. Yeah.
Jesus Christmas!
Yeah,
How many
but it's,
RPM that thing turns?
I mean that's. I mean,
30?
I'm trying. I'm going to fly tomorrow and get a baseline. I have about 4 different props to try on it, and see how how this goes compared to the, compared to that, the GSR models ones.
How many RPM?
Oh, I got a
you
couple of
expect that thing
those
to turn?
now.
What's that?
What kind of RPM you expect it to turn?
Oh, it turns easy 22,000.
Yeah,
On
22,
10%
23.
nitro.
Is that on 15% nitro?
No, 10% nitro.
Wow.
You can run 15%, but just right now it's the problem with these engines. They only run like 2 minutes on 4 ounces. So
Yeah.
the more nitro you
You
run.
know what I run in mine now?
What's that?
I run 37% nitro in my Nelsons.
Really? Wow.
So what did you say the
But
problem?
I've got the Detroit hookup on the extra motor work that, listen, Ron Colombo will tell you, Henry makes a great motor, but he doesn't finish them and get everything he can out of them.
Right.
Mark Walrashana, like he hemis the head, and they they do the head clearance based on how much nitro you're going to run.
Right. Yeah.
And all my motors have been massaged by the Detroit crew.
Oh,
and they set theirs up to run 37% nitro. So they set my head clearance. They hemi the head a little more, and I run 37. Al, if you ain't going 120, 125, 127, you ain't going fast enough.
Yeah. Okay. Well.
So what?
That's what I'm worried. That's what this plane's. I don't know. I don't think this is going to be the quickest plane because it has a big wing on it, but we'll see.
Well, you said there was.
I mean, you'll be there at 125, but most of us are running about 130. In fast, we're up there, and 5 miles an hour is a big difference in fast. It really is.
Yeah.
Does it hold the speed
how
in
does
the
Phil's
turns?
plane compare? Cartier.
Oh, the airplane's fine. I mean, yeah, the Psychos are great airplanes, man. As long as you got them balanced right, it'll turn on a dime. They'll go.
Phil's speed wise at the Nats.
Well, Phil hasn't flown fast at the Nats in years.
Oh, really?
So I don't know. Yeah, he has.
Okay.
No, Phil's always either taking pictures or judging, but I have not seen him actually fly fast combat at the Nats in the last 4 years, at least.
Okay.
You made
he pitted for me a couple times because I needed a pit man.
Right.
So I think it's been a while since Phil has flown. I don't know how his engines run, but his airframes are just fine. I mean, there's plenty of guys flying Phil's airframes.
Okay.
Hey, Mike.
Well,
yeah,
I'm coming out to have fun. If I win a match or two, that's great. If I don't, that's all right too.
That's how I look at it. Same way.
Hey, Mike.
Hang on, John.
Yes,
Carl's trying to ask a question for a while.
That's what I was going to try to get in there.
Okay.
Carl's trying to ask him a question.
Yeah, the gentleman with the foam wing there, he made a comment about the motor only runs about 4 seconds on a couple ounces of fuel, and then you said there was a problem of running higher nitro.
Well, okay. What I was saying is, on 4 ounces of fuel, these engines only run about 2 minutes, or 2.5 minutes. They really drink a lot of fuel, and the more nitro you use, the less runtime you have.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
So that's why I'm shocked that Mike's using all that nitro.
Yeah.
But of course he's you're lowering they're lowering the compression of the engine, to run that nitro. If he's hemming out the double bubble.
And I gotta say, our run times are a little different than your experience. I put a full bag in, which is 4 ounces, and I can usually get about 3.5 minutes, 3:45 out of 4 ounces on a full bag.
Okay.
But a lot of guys at the Nats, they short bag they only put, a minute and a half or 2 minutes worth on, because usually a fast combat match is over
I'm gonna go
in
check
2
that
minutes.
battery.
Yeah, right.
It's either a midair or a kill.
Yeah.
It's done. So nobody goes full bag. But
Right.
if there isn't a midair or a kill in the first 2 minutes, you can win a match by full bagging, getting the air. It's there's a lot of decision making that goes in to a fast combat match.
Oh yeah, especially I mean, you need a lot of. It's either you got to run Henry used to make a Venturi restrictor for him, so they would get more fuel mileage. That he had a plastic insert for him. But
right, yeah, the big square plastic insert that went on the top of the Venturi.
Right, yeah, there was a square one. Then I think and then there's also there's also this metal one.
Well, that's an insert to run suction.
Right.
That's a slow combat Venturi. You put that in and run suction on a hard tank.
Right.
For slow combat, and that tames it down to about 105 miles an hour.
Well, you could also run it without the spray bar in it too to make it better. Anyway, that used to be in here. I used to run that on my Warbirds.
Yeah, I don't know why you'd want to slow a Nelson down though. I mean,
well, I'm just saying if you figured out all the fuel mileage, but like you said, I mean, half A combat turned out to be the same thing. A lot of guys couldn't make the full. Only a few guys could make the full 5 minutes. With the hot engines. But,
yeah, well, that's kill combat. It's usually over in 2 minutes.
Right.
2 minutes, midair or a kill, and it's done.
Yeah.
There is something to be said for full bagging and staying up the whole time. If you don't get the kill or the midair, you can win it on airtime.
Well,
but then if the match is over, you're stuck turning around in circles at 125 miles an hour, flat and level.
Yeah, here's the insert.
Which ain't no fun.
Who has? Yeah, there's the insert. Yeah, who has that?
That's Howard. That's got to be Howard.
Yeah.
Oh, that's Howard. Okay, there he is. So Howard, how long does that run?
I forget.
On 4 ounces.
Not very long. I forget.
It's about two and a half minutes. But do you know how long that insert extends it, or no?
No.
Okay.
I think I started. I used one because I broke off the.
Okay, the case. Yeah.
The intake, and I put that in one of them, so I put them in the others so they'd match.
All right.
Oh, Mike, while I'm here, would you send
battery
for that tubing, please?
Say again?
Would you send me the part number for the tubing from McMaster Car?
Oh,
please?
yeah. Howard wants the part number also.
Okay, I'm gonna have to look it up because it's when I bought it, I bought 50 feet of it, which was like 5 years ago, and I'm just about out. And I'll tell you what, they think a lot of it too. It was not cheap. I want to say it was almost $2 a foot maybe when I bought it. Pretty close to that with shipping. Yeah, it's not it was not cheap stuff for sure.
Okay, thank you.
But Al, I'm actually working on. I'm converting some fast to speed limit right now. I've got some older fast models that just aren't up to the task with the Nelson anymore.
Right.
So I'm pulling Nellies off and taking the H&Rs off, putting standard bell cranks on them, and slapping OS LA 40s on the front to make some speed limit models.
Okay.
Just practice planes. That's the nice thing about the big foamies is you can swap a Nelly or a 40 and they balance just the same.
Mm-hmm.
You can do it with almost no changes to the trim or anything like that.
You're just going to run more fuel. That's all.
Right.
Yeah.
But they're not up to the task for fast anymore. They're beat up. They're not there.
So,
I got to build 4 new fast for the Nats, So the old ones that we have are going to get 40s. We took yesterday, since we're on the combat talk, Sam and I went through and hung motors on 7 half A's. We got 7 half A's with motors ready to go. 4 Profis, 2 Cyclones, and 1 Fora. And then we got 7 backup planes, 7 others. So we got 14 half A's ready for the season. We're going through our speed limit stuff right now. Going to try to get a dozen of those ready, and then get on to building 4 fast for this year.
Okay. And then what are you going to do for F2D ships for Sam?
That's all covered. The Detroit guys are going to sponsor him, Ronnie Colombo, and one other unnamed source. Ronnie won't tell me who, but there's another guy up there that wants to sponsor Sam as well. They have airplanes and motors, all the F2D equipment, lines, handles. We're going to be up in May in Detroit in May and for the contest. And Sam will get his hands on the F2 stuff and get to fly a little bit while we're there. We'll bring a bunch of stuff home with us, and we'll have a month to practice before the Nats, before he goes to the trials. And then when we go to the team trials, Mike Evans and Ron Colombo are going to pit for him.
Okay,
because you need 2 pitmen for F2. But they're supplying everything for him and going to pit for him.
What juniors does he have to compete against?
Don't know yet. I don't know. There will most certainly be other juniors flying in F2D at the Nats, but whether or not they are declaring that they're trying out for a spot on the team remains to be seen. We don't know.
Well,
because
who in the past are juniors that are left in?
Well, not Rylan anymore because he's capped out. He's going to be too old. There's a kid in Texas that's been flying, Sapid. He flies with Lester Horry down there, but I don't know if he's coming to the Nats. And then there's Austin and Anna Miner.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, those guys are practicing a lot.
They're the minors. So they'll be at the Nats competing. But unlike Stunt, where we have a separate team trials for the U.S. team for Stunt, Combat does it at the Nats. So they run the regular F2D contest. And then anyone who wants to declare that they're trying out for the team, they declare it, and then you're in the running. So you don't have to win the Nats to make the team as an adult member or a junior member. You just have to be the highest finishing declared member. You got to put your hand up and say, I'm making a run for the team. So everyone that puts their hand up, they don't have to win. They just have to finish above it's the top 3 adults and the top junior that say, I'm making a run for the team. So I don't know. Sam may be alone at the Nats.
Well, I wish you luck.
Trying to make the team. Or he might have to fly against
I'll help you out.
Junior.
You know,
I appreciate that, Al. I appreciate that.
You know,
I mean, I really hope, I hope there's at least one other junior there. That's declaring, because I would like him to earn it and not just get a gimme. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I'll give him confidence going to the Worlds.
As long as he has some competition in juniors too, that'd be great. Even if they don't declare it.
Right. Well,
if he holds his own against them, that's a great thing.
Right. There will absolutely be other juniors flying F2D at the Nats, but we'll take it if he gets it and he's the only one declared, but it would just mean a little more if he beat someone to do it. You know what I mean?
I mean, even if they don't stack up, together throughout the course because they fly against open. He flies with open, correct? They should have the juniors have a runoff anyway.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. If all the juniors that are declared, even if they get eliminated and they're like tied, say 2-2 or whatever, and they're tied, they would have a fly off amongst the juniors to see who would go to the team.
So, out of the minors, who's further along, the girl or the son? The son or
Well,
the daughter?
Sam beat them both in half A combat last summer.
Okay.
He killed them both last year in half A. So I don't know.
Okay.
You know, and half A is on par with F2D combat as far as the speed and the reaction times and the lap time.
It's more.
Sam,
half A reaction time is more.
Yeah.
That's more like fast. You know.
Right. I mean, and actually, Sam last year at the Nats, he killed Anna, he killed Austin, and he killed Rylan in half A combat. He killed every one of them in half A combat. But this is F2D is new, you know, it's a different animal, and these other kids have flown it a bunch.
Yeah.
But I don't know. We're just gonna throw him into the mix, and hopefully he lands on his feet and does well. If he doesn't, win, lose, or draw, he'll try his best, and if he makes it, he makes it. If he doesn't, he doesn't. You know.
That's cool. Yeah, because I haven't flown F2D. I mean, I just flown a couple of planes, but I don't know anything about it. You know, it's.
Me neither.
There's one guy here that's the guy in town. You know, Alex. He's like a world champion. Prokofiev.
Yes, I know the name.
Yeah, he doesn't live far away from me, and he's always practicing at our field or local fields and stuff like that.
Well, our biggest problem with doing it was I didn't want to invest the money in the airplanes and the motors. I mean, I didn't want to spend that kind of money on that many airplanes and that many $350 motors, because that's what an F2D engine costs. They're $350 a pop.
Right.
You need 12 airplanes. You need 6 motors. You know, but when Sam said he wanted to do it, and I called Ronnie in Detroit and said, "What do we got to have?" He said, "Nothing. You don't need nothing. I got everything the kid needs."
That's great.
Because Ronnie's done flying F2D. He's not doing it anymore. Right. And he said, "I've got the airplanes. I've got the equipment. I want to support your kid. I want to help him, and I'll help you get there." So I was like, "Okay, there we go." You know,
and and half the battle is Sam wanting to do it, because when I wanted my son to do it, you know, and I wanted to go to France and have him, you know, try out. He was going to, you know, do the whole thing. I got all the equipment all ready, and you know, he didn't want to go. Didn't want to do it.
He didn't want to go. Yeah.
No.
Well, and I'm kicking a dead horse here, because I've told all these guys, we've had discussions over the last few months about Samuel trying out for stunt, and I really thought he was going to go the stunt route. You know, he was going to try for the stunt team, fly F2D, and I was getting ready to pull the trigger on one of those Russian electric take-apart models, the Axioma, you know, like, you know, $1,500 airplane. And when it came push to shove, and I sat down and had a real conversation with him about, what do you want to do? This is what I'm getting ready to do. And he said, "Daddy, I'd rather fly combat."
Cool.
So, you know, I'm not going to push him. I'm not going to, as much as I wanted him to go for stunt and do that, when it came down to it, he said, "I want to fly combat." So we've switched direction. That's where we're going. Because that's
I was wondering about that. So what days are the combat? I know Fast is Saturday. Do you know the days?
No, Fast isn't Saturday.
I thought Fast was Saturday. That's what it looked on the internet.
No. I can tell you the whole schedule right now. F2D is Saturday and Sunday, like the start before the Nats even starts, right?
Right.
F2D is Saturday and Sunday, which Sunday is the same day as beginner and intermediate stunt. Monday is F2D Fast, which is an AMA event. Okay.
Yeah.
Tuesday is speed limit. Wednesday is half A. Big block fast is Thursday, and then combat is done. Combat is done on Thursday.
Okay.
So that's how it runs. Starts on Saturday, ends on Thursday.
So the F2D starting on the Saturday before the Nats, and then Sunday is going to be my travel day.
And that's the day F2D will finish, and that's the same day that the unofficial beginner and intermediate stunt are held on Sunday as well.
Okay, wow. And then fast is then fast speed limit. I mean, fast F2D is Monday.
Monday, 1 day event. That's F2D fast, one airplane, not a 2 airplane event. It's fast kills on Monday. Tuesday speed limit, Wednesday half A, Thursday big block.
Okay. Well, all right.
Al, I'm glad you're coming to the Nats to fly combat. I didn't think you were going to make it, man.
Yeah, I didn't think so either. But everything seemed to pan out with work and everything. So I don't know if I'm going to fly half A. I'll bring my fast and speed limit stuff.
Dude,
my
you
half
better.
A.
What are you going to do? Take a day off? You're going to fly speed limit and take a day off and then fly fast? Bring your half A, man.
Well, I got to put them all together. I got to, get them together. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, I got a bunch of them. So.
Yeah, bring your half A. All right, I'm sure we're boring the hell out of these guys with all this.
No, you're not. Let me interrupt
gotcha.
though for a minute. Jim Smith, I muted your mic, so you need to unmute your mic, Jim. Okay. And looking at the chat box, Timothy DeBoard says, "You guys are a wealth of information. Thank you so much." And Phil, I know you said this earlier, having a hard time giving a like, but I'm stubborn. I'll get it in. Thank you, Phil.
You're welcome. We'll get it.
I know you'll get it in. And what was I? Oh, I wanted to say we've had 20 viewers. Actually, we've had 20.
Wow.
We've had 25, 26 viewers. We have 11 likes, 0 new members, 0 chat revenue. That's the super chats. So please don't forget to either donate through the super chats, hit the join button on the YouTube side. To join is only $4.99 a month. That's less than 17 cents a day. That helps the channel grow. And please keep hitting the thumbs up. And if you're watching it as a replay, I do these every Monday and Friday at 6:45 p.m. Pacific Standard Times. If you want to come in live and be part of the show, make a note of that. That's when we start these things. And that's about it. Oh, and hi, Denny. I wanted to acknowledge you, Denny.
Yeah,
Thanks for coming in.
Hey,
and Mike, did you call Joe Gilbert back?
I did not. I did just go into YouTube and give you a like, though.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
I did not call Joe. I was too busy yapping to Al about combat stuff and putting all you guys to sleep. If Jim has something to say and share, when he's finished, I'll show you all how to tie that knot that everybody was asking about earlier. But we'll let Jim go for a little bit.
Oh, you know what? I'm so sorry. Peter, well, he's not even here, but Peter wanted to say something. So when Peter comes back, give Peter a chance to say something. He asked that a while ago.
Yeah.
All right, Jim Smith, take it away.
I don't have much. I was just going to show you, now that I've removed the panel. Okay, if we look, here you can see all these little pieces. Okay,
yes.
And the new ones, what they do now is a little further back, probably in about here, about half the distance. They put a spar, much like this one up here, that runs each wing half, and it actually will not come off like these little guys. This one actually, I got one wing. This wing held in there. I got them all in there.
I see that.
But this other wing, probably not so lucky. One thing I wanted to show everybody, I don't know how good you can see it, or if I'm showing it right. Yeah, I'm showing it right. Right good. Here. Okay. You see right here.
All right.
This is how you should do a spar. This is 16th inch plywood doubler on both sides. I looked at Derek's wing when it broke off one of the many times. And what he was doing is he was taking and making a square vertical cutoff right here. And then he'd go into the balsa. And that's a failure point.
Every
time.
Point.
Yeah, it's the stress point. And so what these do, if you look carefully, you can see that they come out at an angle. Okay, there's a big cutout in them. And what that does, it distributes the load. And the inside, it's all solid, okay, before it does that. And then as you start to get out in the last couple of panels of the doubler, you split it like this. And you take it basically down to a point. And that just distributes the load evenly into the balsa wood. And it keeps you from folding your wing. So that's how we do the spars. And then we just cut out a little lightning hole, and then we get way out here where some of the damage was. Denny, you missed all the fun. I had a hammer. I took a hammer to it earlier, and you can see our adjustable lead out in there. And then we get all the way out into the tip. And you can see why it would have garnered a lot more points than one that was, 12 years old. This finish is only a couple of years old. So
what
anyway,
happened to that airplane, Jim? I remember that one.
Well, Howard's supposed to be sending me some. This uses an Igor underneath the bottom here. Right about in here. Let me get it up here. There's your bell crank coming through, and then right about in here is where the accelerometer goes. And on the Igor system, it has no light at all. And so what happened, we were trimming on it just a little bit, and so I asked Wayne, we were taking little 2-minute flights, and I asked Wayne to try it, because usually he'll fly his and trim and ask me to fly it and vice versa to get a second opinion. Well, he had just finished something, and anyway, he just pulled straight up over the top, and the Igor system, there's no warning, there's no nothing. It just quit. And of course, it floated across the circle, went it straight into the ground.
No.
And so that was the end of that one. Because the wing has all these loose pieces everywhere. I was going to refinish this, but it's a lot of work to refinish one. So now it's just going to get more hammering.
So how did Wayne say that it was trimmed?
Oh, it was trimmed good. It was flying. It's a good flying airplane. Well, it was.
Steve.
I flew it for a long time.
Damn, that was a good trimmed airplane. That was the best one I ever flew.
Yeah.
It went in perfectly great, right?
Oh, Lord.
So
and it didn't bounce.
Oh, my word.
It didn't break the wing, but it tore the nose up pretty good.
Hey, guys, I have an announcement to make. Middlesex Modelers, they donated $19.99. So thank you very much for supporting the cause. We appreciate that very much. That really helps out the channel. And we've increased in likes from 11 to 14. So please continue to hit the thumbs up. And I have a question for you, Carl. Do you understand how to get to the Phil Cartier website? You're muted.
No, yeah, I know. I leave it on. I leave it when I'm not speaking. I mute it so there's no chance the background to come in.
All right.
No, I don't.
So, hey, Mike. Mike, can you help Carl get to the Phil Cartier website or
Corehouse?
How do you spell it?
Corehouse.
No, nobody can. No, hold on. Nobody can because Phil's website is down. It's gone. He doesn't have a website anymore. You got to call Phil on the telephone and tell him what you want.
Okay. Do you have that? Well, you have my address, right?
I do. I can get you Phil's phone number. Hold on.
All right.
I can get you his number.
Okay, let me get
But
it.
yeah, his website went down like a year ago, and it's just not there. But I have his contact number.
Okay, let me get some paper and a pen. I'll
Well,
be right back.
I think rather than just shouting it out over the interwebs, I'll put it in a message in the chat box. How about that?
Sounds good.
Or
Sounds good.
Do you have Charles' email address?
I had your address, but he's gonna put it in the chat box.
Does Mike have your address?
Yeah, he should. We had a transaction a year or so ago.
Oh, once you send that information to Charles, and then I'll call Charles and get it from him.
So we're gonna put it in the chat box.
All right, I'll just Charles.
Because I don't know how to get
Charles. I'll just. Okay, hold on. Charles, I will text you Phil Cartier's phone number, and you can share it with Carl. How about that?
Yeah, that
sounds
works.
good.
Thank you.
And that's the easiest way to get a hold of Phil is just give him a call and tell him what you want. Okay.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
All righty.
I have a comment about Phil Cartier calling him on the phone.
All right.
If you're on the West Coast, don't forget that it's 3 hours later there, not 3 hours earlier, because I called him at 3 a.m.
Yes.
That is correct.
Yeah.
That is correct. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I order stuff from Brodoc, so I know that there's a 3 hours difference. So, yeah. Thank you, though.
All right, Charles, you should have that text with Phil's information. And hey, I want to share one thing too. I got a message from Mark Lumen, who's been joining us recently on the live chats.
Right.
You know, Mark, he's Dave Tribble's son-in-law. He had his knee surgery, and he had trouble logging in tonight, so he was not able to log in. He wanted to join, but he's watching on YouTube.
All right.
And he's doing good. And he sent me a really, really gnarly picture of his knee that has about a 10-inch incision down his leg. Doesn't look too good. But Mark is watching, and he says hello to everybody.
Hi, Mark.
All right. Hello,
Hey,
Mark. And
Hey, Mark.
You're all right, buddy.
And you know, Lynn Burrell tried to get in at least 2 or 3 times. And Lynn, I did not reject you. I kept hitting allow. I don't know why you couldn't get in, but I was hitting the allow. So I don't know why you couldn't get in, but I did do my best, but it didn't seem to respond. But interesting enough, after you, I was able to let Denny in. So I don't know what's up, Lynn. It might be a Canadian thing. I don't know.
You forgot to say
Charles.
A.
Yeah. Charles, you did notice that stubborn finally prevailed.
Thank you very much. Yeah, we're up to 17 likes. Thank you very much, Phil.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Finally got that thing in. I
Hey,
don't know why it's so hard tonight.
Can I holler at Phil for a second?
Yeah.
Now, hang on.
Sure.
Peter's been trying to talk.
Go ahead,
Peter.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Peter. Sorry.
Okay, this is really quick, and it's kind of very general, so anybody can make use of it. Everybody recognizes one of these, right?
Yeah, like an antenna, telescoping.
Now, there's the common practice of getting tubing to make cuts or holes in balsa. But go out and get one of these with as many segments as you can. Take it apart, and all of a sudden, you have all different sizes. You sharpen one end just like you would do with a piece of tubing, and all of a sudden, you have a whole bunch of different size tools that you can make nice little holes in your balsa, nice clean holes in your balsa.
Good idea, Pete.
Great idea, Peter. Thank you very much. That's
Oh, Peter, speaking of tubing, I had a interaction with Marshall Busby's son again today. I happened to be over in Nashville, and he still had a bunch of leftover doodads from Marshall's stash. I picked up about 20 sticks of K&S 1/8-inch copper tubing, about 20 sticks of brass tubing and 20 sticks of aluminum tubing.
Nice.
And then he had,
Look at
I got a
that.
bag of connectors, scissor connectors, and the large slider type. There's probably 150 connectors in there.
Good grief.
And I forget what else. Oh, he had, well, that's what I bought from him. But he had 4 CAS handles in there.
Oh, man.
I did not buy them because they're the smaller ones.
Oh, okay.
Right?
No, I can't use that.
Sam and I used the larger ones. These were the smaller ones. But there was 4 CAS handles with lines. And I told him, he's eBaying a lot of this stuff anyway. I said, I'm not interested in it because that's not what we use. So I didn't get those. But also he had like 15 of the Tom Morris phenolic 4-inch bell cranks with the lead out wires on them ready to go. I didn't buy those either. I didn't buy those because I've got probably 10 that I bought from Mac Henry. So I told him to eBay those as well. And then he had a bunch of the flap horn and elevator horn setups, probably 6 or 8 of those from Tom Morris as well. Some of them were just standard with a a horn and a hole, but there was a couple of those slider type ones in there as well.
Adjustable.
So be checking eBay because Tony's going to be putting that stuff on eBay pretty soon. Phil, that's the guy you bought the Aero Tiger from. So if you remember that seller, you can follow him. He's gonna be listing those CAS handles and the flap horns and the bell cranks and all that stuff. And
the flap horns I can use. The handles Tom Looper and 3 of the guys can use. They all have small hands.
Yeah.
I'm like you. I got a big hand. I have to have them.
Well, I wasn't going to buy them because I don't use them, and I wasn't going to try to buy them and resell them. And he's trying to make money on this stuff, get something for it. So they'll be on the pay here soon.
Mike, you going to show us that modified surgeon knot?
Yes, I am. Okay, let me put this down. And let me ask Phil something. Phil, am I going to see you next weekend?
What's next weekend? Huntersville?
You know what's next weekend?
Next weekend I'm going down to Watt Moore's place. I don't know.
So I'm going to see you next weekend.
Oh, you're going to be there? Cool.
I'm going to be there. So I should bring that Kiyosaki with me, right?
Yeah, go ahead. Yes, sir.
You're going to pick that up. You can pick that up there, right?
Yep. I had no idea you were coming to that.
Yeah, me and Sam will be there. We'll be in North Carolina anyway on spring break visiting Grandma. So Sam and I are we're gonna head down for a day or two and then come back. All right, Charles, you want to make me big?
Yeah, ready. You've been big the whole time.
Oh well, it's not big on my screen. I don't know why. Okay,
not big on my screen either. But go ahead.
Mine neither, but I'll make him big.
I made him big.
Okay.
All we gotta do is touch it.
All right.
It'll come up big.
So I got some fat twine here. If you want to do the modified surgeon's knot, you double it back. I'm going to show you the single loop first, then I'll show you the double loop and how to make them the exact same length, okay? So single loop, bring it down and over the top, bring it through. Got it through like that, and there's your loop. That's your connector loop. And I went through that side, bring it back through, and pull. That's the modified surgeon's knot right there. And that gives you the single loop. And then with Spectraline, you put it in your mouth, you moisten it, and you pull it tight, and that cinches everything down, okay?
And then it ain't going to move again.
It ain't going to move. And that is a solid connection. It ain't going to break. It ain't going to move. Now, if you want an even stronger termination and you want to get the lines exactly the same length, get your Sharpie out, mark the line, get you a nice big mark on your line. Now, to get a double loop, that mark is where I want the end of my loop. That's where I want my termination. But to double that loop, you fold it back on itself like this, and then you fold it again at the mark. So now there's your mark, and that's going to be the end. That's going to be the end of your termination, where the mark is, and this is going to be your double loop that your connector goes into. And now you tie the exact same knot again. I didn't leave myself enough room there. This is
I was wondering how he's going to do that.
Well, it was really thick. So normally with Spectra, that would have been enough. But let's try this again. So give yourself enough material on this side to bring it there. Now I've got enough material on both sides. So there's my mark. That's where I want my termination. Bring it back and do your modified surgeon's knot around, right? And all you got to do is just make sure you keep pulling on where your mark is. So that's like your point, right?
Right.
Bringing it through again and pull, and you got your double knot. That's it.
And where's the mark at?
Oh shit! I've already taken it apart. I'm sorry.
Do it again, just to show them the first one on the fluke.
Okay. I'll make sure I got enough material here. It's harder to do with this fat stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
There's the mark.
Right.
Around. Okay. There's the tag end. Around. Wait a minute. I'm screwing this up, man. How am I doing this? Why am I messing this up?
You're not pulling a big enough loop on the one side.
You're right.
We have a million watchers.
It's hard to do with this twine, man. It's so hard to do with this fat stuff.
And grab some spider wire.
Well, you won't be able to see it.
Oh, okay.
You won't be able to see it. Okay. I'm going to get this right, I promise. There's your double loop. You go down, around, back through.
That's looking right.
No, that still ain't right. Why am I screwing this up, man? Yeah, I know. There's pressure, man.
What's cracking under the?
I'm cracking
We're
under.
all watching.
I know everyone's watching and we're streaming live.
Yeah, I know you're watching.
Hey, I'll show why he's trying to figure that out. Finally, my carbon fiber muffler from Kaz showed up.
Oh, fantastic.
Oh, man.
All right. Just about a week or so after I got mine.
Yeah, it finally got here. He was going to give me my money back because they couldn't track it. They couldn't find it. It was crazy. But, man, talk about something that's nice.
Yeah.
That looks like it's factory made.
I have one, and they are nice.
What's that weigh, Steve?
Pardon me?
I got to turn.
What's it weigh?
If I want it.
What's the make of it?
No,
what's
the weight of it.
1.85 ounces.
What does it fit?
Under 2 ounces. Okay.
Under 2 ounces. So I mean, it.
Yeah.
It's as it's about as light as like a header muffler. I think it's as light. But
what does it fit?
It fits a PA or a
K77.
Those dinger mufflers are only an ounce.
Are they? That one I had with the deals hanging off of it, or the stubs and all that, Mine was over an ounce, but
wow.
Yeah, I run mine on my K77, and the K77 just sounds so happy. It's just relaxed.
Been practicing off camera, Mike?
Yeah, I did. I realized what I realized what I was doing wrong. I was not pulling both loops through at the same time. Oh my god.
No worries.
Yeah.
If it had been
you probably been drinking with your buddy there, so you're probably a little bit. Yeah, you. Yeah.
No,
a little bit.
I was still tying it as a single loop, not as a double loop.
Your buddy's giving you the thumbs down in the background.
Yeah, I know. Don't listen to him, man. He's just one of my redneck neighbors.
I'm telling you, you come in here looking for some fun and fellowship. And what do you get?
All right, let's try this again. So there's the mark. And you got to leave a lot of material on both sides. That's what was great. Right. There's the mark. So you fold. There's your connector. Okay, that's where the connector is. Now you got to take all of that. All 4 lines, just like in the single. There's your connector right there, and you got to keep you do got to keep those two even as you.
Easier said than done.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to laugh on that one, but that was funny.
Yeah,
I dropped it.
Well, not enough material. But you can't go driving after you do this.
How long were you in the Navy, Mike?
So then you got both loops that come back through, and just like the single, and then both loops come back through the top.
You don't have enough.
No, I got enough. Enough for demonstrated. So then both loops back through the top, through the middle. Now you got both loops, and you can, and then
all
before,
right.
and then yeah, I got it. I know, right? And even if these two aren't completely even, what you do is just put something through there, and while you're snugging everything up and pulling everything tight, you'll end up with your connector right on the mark.
Very cool.
Mike, do you use fuel tubing to like tighten it up against the buttons on the bell crank?
I don't use Spectra on button bell cranks.
Okay.
I always use a connector. I use a connector, either a slide connector or a scissor connector on that end. If you got real good, but yes, I have seen that. You can put fuel because you might end up with a loop this big, or a loop this big, but it doesn't matter if you're using a connector, how big your loop is, because you're always going to have it at the mark. That was the gist of the tutorial, was to show how to tie the knot.
So what do you use on the button?
The only thing I fly with button bell cranks is fast combat, and I'm still using braided steel on that.
Yeah, so me that way.
So, but I mean, you're just using a loop, crimped loop.
A crimped loop on a button bell crank, correct?
Right. Okay,
correct. And you know what I use, Al? I use an X-Acto knife to tie my crimps.
Okay.
Those H&R bell cranks, the buttons on them.
Right.
If you do your loop on your braided wire loop on an X-Acto knife, it's just enough that it slips onto a button into the groove.
Okay.
That's what I do.
So you're running lead outs. Are you running lead outs on your planes, or are you just running them all the way through?
Lead out.
On the fast?
On the fast.
No, right to the button bell crank.
Okay.
No lead outs. No, right to the button.
Heresy.
Why?
I know, heresy to use lead outs.
I mean, I have on some of my I had some art, just to use the same lines between the the European models and Phil's models. I was running lead outs on them.
No, I don't use lead outs on any
Yeah.
any foamies anyway, Al.
Right. Okay.
Because the foamies always have external bell cranks, so I either use connectors on speed limits or right to the button on fast.
Right.
And then the European stuff, yes, you're hooking. They already have lead outs in them, so you got to have shorter lines for that. But for all the fast, just right to the button.
Hey,
Man, I'm
Phil,
sorry
did
that
you
took so
check
long
out that
get that done.
wing and stuff I sent you?
One at a time. Go ahead, Steve.
Phil, did you check out that wing? Was everything okay?
Yeah, I think it's all right. I got it here. You'll be getting something first of the week. Should be.
Oh, I'm not worried about that, Phil. I just wondered if it made it okay and there was no.
Yeah, it made it fine. I mean, the inboard wing. I see where you say the inboard wing needs some repair, but take it down trans and we'll see what he can do with it.
Yeah, wait until after he sees it. You're happy before you send me anything.
Okay.
All right.
All right, no problem. But I'm sending you the postage too.
Huh?
I'm going to send you the postage too.
Oh, okay. That's fine, but that's yeah. Just wait to make sure that you like what it is and everything works. And
okay.
All right.
Because I'm gonna paint this. I'm gonna paint this one to make it a practice model, and the other one will be the contest model. So it'll be fine.
Yeah. My plan is that some of it, like the tail, had to be all painted, but I was thinking the wing, if it was, if it showed little spots, that's where you could just put some trim on it and leave a lot of carbon fiber. But
yeah, and it's pretty weave, so we'll work it out.
Okay.
I'm sure we can work it out.
You guys didn't interrupt here.
Oh, Denny's.
Yeah, Dennis has got his hangman's knot.
Very good. Very good. You guys, we're going to transition to the after party because we're running a little bit long. And anyways, so we had 26 viewers at one time, and we're up to 20 likes. So if you are watching this, please hit the thumbs up. And as a replay, please hit the thumbs up when you watch a replay. Don't forget to join. There's a join button underneath the video in the YouTube area. And thank you for the people coming in the chat box. We had Alexander III, Jeff Riley, Al Ferrero, and he came in, and then Timothy DeBoard and Philip Bailey. And we got a super chat of $19.99 from Middlesex Modelers. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. And we're going to transition to the after party. And like I said, sometimes the after party is where all the fun's at, and we have even more fun, and it's a better program. So please consider subscribing and also joining Stunt Hangar Forum so you can come into the after party during the live program. So with that being said, I'm going to end the stream.
Hold on, Charles.
All
Come
right.
to the after party for more knot tying tips from me, and I promise I'll get them right.
All righty. So we're gonna end the stream, and just give me a second to shut this down.